The overarching meteorological pattern shows a large-scale ridging over the eastern US, working in tandem with a weak frontal boundary that is slowly drifting south toward Florida. At mid-levels, the flow is zonal or slight dip, and at the surface, a cold front is moving southeast across the southeastern US, but is losing its bite as moisture and dynamic support diminish. In this geometrical context, the subtropical jet remains somewhat displaced to the north, leaving Florida and the southern Appalachians in a relatively quiescent zone, yet with subtle forcing courtesy of the front and pressure gradient tightening. In simple terms, high pressure building in the upper level and surface ridge to the north is ushering in drier air, while the remnant boundary and onshore flow in Florida are slowly reintroducing moisture. For aviation, the result is generally VFR conditions, but with increasing onshore winds, gustiness, and localized shower, non-isolated thunder chances, particularly in Florida. Fire weather and dry fuel concerns are elevated in the drier air masses, especially in Georgia. From a macro-scale perspective, we have a typical autumn transition setup. A broad upper-level ridge moving off the east coast, a trough axis upstream in the Great Lakes which is dynamically weaker, and surface highs building into the southeast. The stall of the frontal boundary over Florida marks a zone of moisture return and onshore flow, along with warm air advection behind the high. That onshore flow tightens the pressure gradient, causing gusty conditions near the coast and elevated maritime hazards. Meanwhile, the dry advection over Georgia and northern Florida signals post-frontal subsidence and radiational cooling overnight, susceptible to fog early morning and rapid clearing to VFR. For pilots, in Florida's peninsula, expect increasing light to moderate onshore winds, gusts along the coast, up to approximately 20 to 25 knots today, and possibly higher near sea breeze boundaries or storm outflow. Coastal instability may generate showers/thunder during the afternoon in south and east central Florida. Although coverage is modest, even isolated storms can produce sudden wind shifts, gusts, and reduced visibilities/wet runways. Marine operations face increasing seas and gusty onshore winds. Monitoring for small craft advisories and rip current hazards is essential. In Georgia and North Florida, dry air, VFR conditions, and gust potential from boundary layer mixing dominate. But very low humidity and fuel dryness raise fire concerns. Wake turbulence and mixing heights may be deeper than usual given dryness. From a mesoscale perspective, the coastal zones in Florida are influenced by the interface of cold front remnants, sea breeze circulations, and the surging onshore flow. Expect localized boundary layer convergence, enhanced low-level wind shear, and possible shower initiation along these subtle boundaries. Inland plume advection of moisture coupled with modest mid-level vorticity can spark afternoon instability in South Florida. Monitoring local convective development is advised. Lastly, from a climate perspective, this time of year we typically transition from the wet season to the dry season. However, the air masses we see, precipitable water near record low percentiles in South Florida, underscore how suppressed convective regimes are currently. The return of deeper moisture today into the peninsula signals the seasonal shift, although storm coverage remains limited. Summary by region: South Florida/Southeast Florida, morning stable, but moisture return and onshore flow support. Scattered showers/isolated storms this afternoon, shows evening. Gusty winds, rip current risk. East Central Florida, Treasure Coast. Few showers along a stalled boundary, approximately 20% pop. Stronger northeasterly gusty winds developing, seas increasing, mostly dry inland. North interior Florida, Tallahassee region. Dry and stable. VFR, very low humidities, elevated fire risk, radiational cooling overnight, lows into the 40s inland. Georgia, Mostly dry, stable, VFR, with light winds and low humidity. Fire weather vigilance required, little chance of active weather today.